So now I'd like to introduce our speaker, and today is Lisa Hancock. She is a founding partner and current director of dispositions at Market Pro Home Buyers. Market Pro has been actively buying and selling homes in the Mid-Atlantic area for over a decade, with recent expansion into Florida. Lisa provides a wealth of information about wholesaling and how your clients can use it to their advantage when searching for their next investment project.
I want to introduce Lisa Hancock, Director of Dispositions with Market Pro Home Buyers, a founding partner of Market Pro Home Buyers. And Lisa, I just really want to say thank you for joining the call, and we appreciate the opportunity to work with you again and the relationship that we have.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We've been wholesaling for about 7 years, but before that, we flipped houses for 5. And we did over 300 flips, and all of those properties we purchased from real estate agents. So like you were saying before, how relationships is what really builds the business. I agree 100%. I do believe and still protect and build up the relationships that we have with agents. And most of my best buyers are either agents or somebody who represents a very good investor.
What separates Market Pro from other wholesalers that our clients may get involved with or may see?
So, I think that wholesaling depends who you talk to. Some people have had a bad transaction or something like this. Like I said, we're doing over 500 properties a year. You don't see our name plastered everywhere. I speak at presentations like all over the country, actually. I think there's a bunch of answers, but I will say it to you like this. I mean, like I said, we have respect for the relationships that we've built in the industry. We have respect for our sellers, respect for our buyers. We do what we say, and we mean what we say. One of the big things that's really changing in the wholesale market right now is, we put out our marketing and we are contacted by a distressed seller, right?
Sure.
For some reason, they don't meet the bucket of going the traditional route. It could be that they're hoarders. It could be that they're probate and they live out of state and they don't know what to do, and they came to clean their grandparents' house and saw the mailer, something that we have. We have different types of issues with, elderly people, and then they have other family members that won't leave. They don't know how to handle the transition. How did they get out of that house and into someplace new? There's a whole bunch of scenarios that we help with. We've helped people find homes for their animals. I mean, there isn't anything that we would ever turn away. And I say, even though I work directly with the investors, I have no problem always telling the investors, look, on the other side of this table, it's great that you're flipping the house or adding to your rental portfolio, but on the other side of this table is a distressed seller, right? So be respectful and be grateful that, we have this opportunity. We handle, on the transaction side, transaction coordinators. They'll handle the probates. We move people. I mean, I just kind of gave a bunch of examples. I don't think there's really that many people in this industry that care so much for the sellers and really give all that we do to help the seller get out of that house. That is the hugest thing. And when I say our transaction team is amazing, they really are amazing. What they do for the sellers. Then the other thing is, it's consistent. We've obviously built this big network, that we have, like with the movers or elder care. We also have direct links with elder care. So this is all the things that we do for the sellers, which is why people gravitate towards us, right? On the flip side with me is with the investors. I mean, that's what I work. I work directly with the investors, and what we provide for the investors is, like I said, we flipped houses for 5 years. I have 300 houses we flipped. I have an extensive contractor list. I have connections. I have you guys, right? So if anybody's wondering, hey, I want to do my first deal. I'm not sure how to do it. I've got you guys also in my pocket that can take care of the financial aspect. A lot of that is just being a pillar in the community, doing what we say what we mean. And also, any deal that you see on our website, we are always direct to seller with contract. I think that's the biggest change that has happened in the past 2 years. Like, these people are taking like wholesaler classes without this big infrastructure that we have behind us, and they think they know how to wholesale a property. They don't. And a lot of times, you don't know who you have to say, are you actually a contract holder? Because there's a thing called daisy chaining. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's like it goes through all these hands, or they may see an ad that we have and then they put it out to a list that they bought, but they never really have the contract. You have to be very careful about that. And because your end buyer is wondering, well, what's really going on here? So anybody that you bring to us, anybody that you bring us as an investor, or that is looking for rental properties or whatever it is, just be aware that we are taking care of the seller, and we have all of these other relationships built to make sure that the investor has as much success as possible.
Absolutely.
Long answer. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Absolutely. We're, coming from the financing side of it, we're definitely going to have to see the full chain of contracts, and we've definitely experienced that. One thing I did want to ask you is, you're in our local DMV area, including Pennsylvania. You've expanded out to Florida with Orlando and Tampa areas. Are there any areas that you anticipate you moving into next?
Yeah, we've had great success with the Florida areas. We started off with Tampa, and then 3 months later, we launched Orlando. I think that, as a company, I think as long as the success keeps going, we have a pretty well-oiled machine at this point. I'm sure in the next coming year, there will be a couple more expansions, at least in Florida. If maybe the different coast or something like that. And we do intend to keep going.
I wanted to move over now, how our clients and our brokers' clients can get in touch with you and work with you to find inventory. Is the best route for them to do that through your website, marketprodeals.com?
Yep. So if you go to the website and you actually enter your profile information, which is literally name, email, and phone number, then you'll start to get the deals sent directly to you. We have a pretty fast process. A deal will come in. If it comes in after 4 o'clock, we wait till the next day. But as soon as we go under contract with the seller, usually that deal is out to the public same day or within 24 hours. And it is a very fast turnaround. So I recommend, if you're kind of waiting, like, oh, I saw a deal, or I'm not going to call Lisa. If you don't act on it, most of the time the deal is sold. So best way, marketprodeals.com. Put in your profile information. You'll get a text and an email every time we get in a new property.
And when our clients, or when one of our clients that we have a relationship, wants to submit an offer with you, how should they come prepared? Do they need a term sheet? Do they need a proof of funds letter? Do they need proof of income or bank statements? What does that look like for them to meet the threshold when they're trying to submit an offer?
That's another great question. So if you're entering an offer for an investor that you're working with, obviously you need proof of funds letter. And the other thing that you would need is, if they're putting it into LLC, we would need LLC docs. If they're keeping it in their own name, just a copy of their driver's license. We have a really easy process as far as entering offers, and our whole system is automated. So as long as you have your proof of funds letter and it's updated, you're in good shape.
Last question I have for you here is, when you're weighing offers, when offers are coming in, what is the most heavily weighted? Is it experience with Market Pro? Is it the end all bottom line offer number? Is there a separate category or separate factor that weighs on when you're gonna, whose offer you're gonna accept?
So I am very particular because basically I'm trying to find the best buyer for the seller. So sometimes highest offer doesn't always win the deal. We do tend to look for the highest offer, but I also vet everybody. So I need everybody's proof of funds letter. If they're, like I said, if they're going in LLC, I need to have current LLC docs, everything in good standing. And obviously, the biggest deal to us, like if this elderly person is going to be moving and they need this deposit going into their next scenario, we've got to close on time.
Sure.
So I am very specific. As you guys know, there's not a lot of lenders that are in the Market Pro bubble. You guys obviously are one of our top, you are our top lenders. So having that is a big deal as far as us knowing that the deal is going to get funded on time and we're not going to have any issues. So there's a couple of varying things.
Sure.
Obviously a strong offer, make sure that everything's entered, and working with a lender that we highly approve.
Lisa, I really want to thank you for joining us here with this call. If you don't mind, I'll have a quick question and answer period.
Of course.
Anybody can answer or ask any questions to either of us.
If I could jump in here for a second. Lisa, thanks again for coming in. This is Rick Roll. One of the things I want to stress is Lisa, they're very concise with what they want. The deals either work or they don't. We move on to the next buyer or what's going to make sense. But one thing I can stress, the numbers always work. I mean, when we're lending on these, it's fair. We don't tell Market Pro what they're doing. They don't tell us what we're doing. But what I can tell you is when we have a buyer and they're looking to either buy and hold it or they're looking to renovate it, the numbers are there. There's always a profit margin or there's always an incentive. That's one of the first things I noticed in this, because you do hear horror stories of wholesalers and the daisy chaining, and it's terrible. It doesn't work out for anyone. But the things what I will say that's paramount to them is, does it make sense? Is it good business? And our reputation matters. And that's for everybody involved in this. So thank you. One of the things I do want this call, we do have a lot of brokers on here, but we do have quite a few realtors on. And, there's not much in the way of listings now. And if you could, from the broker standpoint, people we're doing business with, not real estate brokers, but if you have realtors that you're dealing with, you need to let them know that there's available properties. And it's obviously a good footprint that you're working in. So it's not just one area, it's the whole DMV, Florida, Pennsylvania. But what type of incentives, or how do you work with realtors, and how can they get involved in this? Because they're looking to make transactions work too.
This is a great question. My answer is a little bit bigger than a quick answer. So when the change happened in the market industry, what we did as I work with, and I know a lot of agents, right? And the business went down. So we actually started a realtor campaign to kind of say, hey, we're here. If you can reach out to somebody that you know as an investor, we can help you. Okay. I think that helped. And when I'm talking probably around last fall, a year ago, when everything really started to slow down. So we are very open to realtor relationships. Again, it's going to be a little different. First of all, okay, say I'm speaking to the realtors right now, right? Usually in a typical MLS deal, you make your percentage of commission, and if you're bringing the buyer, and the listing agent does too. So if you're bringing me a buyer, and they're going to either fix and flip or buy and hold. So if they're going to fix and flip, there's a couple of options that you can have. You can put money on top, have a conversation with your buyer and say, look, inventory is really low. we can't find anything on the MLS right now. But I do have an in with a new group of listings. Like I just told you, we sold 64, I think, deals last month. So we have consistent inventory. And whatever deal you work out with your buyer is your deal that you work out with your buyer. I support you 100%. You say, I charge my buyer 1%, they are paying it. It is on top. Okay. So if you're putting an offer for your buyer, we have a property at 200,000 and you make a deal with your buyer that I'm going to do everything. I'm going to provide the CMAs. I'm going to help you with your renovation and gear you to get the best amount of after renovated value for your property. I'm only going to charge you 1%. Okay. So then you get the information. You're going to get the proof of funds from MIDI. You're going to get their LLC docs. And when you enter the offer, it's going to be 202. 1% goes to you. And then very easy in the notes section, you just write 2,000 is my fee, payable to Jessica or payable to Keller Williams or payable to Long and Foster. The only thing that we really specifically ask is that you follow the rules and regulations of your brokerage. And then some people for fix and flips, some agents do not charge. They have a mutual agreement with the buyers that they will get the listing once the flip is done. Best thing to do is keep their costs down and get 3 investors that are listing 1 a quarter, and all of a sudden you're listing 12 properties a year. I have been pitching this. I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been pitching this for about 5 years to agents. And like I said in the very beginning, my best buyers are agents or an agent with investors. Now, obviously, if you have rental buyers that are doing like a DSCR loan or a rental loan, you need to charge on the upfront. But with a fix and flip, it's really up to you.
Hey, Isaac, how you doing?
Doing well, Mitty. Hi, Lisa. Question for you: when it comes to the inventory, are you only providing single family, or do you provide any other assets as well?
We'll take anything that's got meat on the bones, I guess you could say, for an investor. So single family homes, condos, townhouses. I mean, sometimes we'll do a duplex depending on, we don't do a lot of multifamily. It's just because they come around so few. I have done a couple in DC area myself, Trinidad, and it's an easy one. It's like a 4-unit. Right now in Philly, we have a 3-unit. So, every once in a while we get the multifamilies, but generally it's just, basic townhouse, condos, single family homes.
Lisa, I really appreciate you coming on and appreciate the relationship and business, and looking forward to working with you more in the future. And again, thank you.